Welcome to Round the Game, an honest conversation with people with unique perspectives in this game that we love. Today, really excited. The only returning guest on the channel so far. And I want to take you back down memory lane. I had you on early September. The episode released September 8th of 2025. And in your intro there, I said almost 2,000 followers on TikTok, over 125,000 followers on the same platform. But now he's done took off. Over 12,500 followers on TikTok, over 250,000 likes on the same platform. Fellow basketball enjoyer and your favorite X's and O's guy and mine. Everybody, welcome back to the channel, Collin Hatfield. Appreciate you being on.
Wow. Thank you. That really does put things into perspective. Thank you for the amazing intro. And yeah, it's been quite a special run here recently, and just, feels great, but I'm honored to be on. Love getting on this pod, being able to talk, just have good conversation with good people. So, yeah, could not pass down the opportunity to be the first returning guest. Definitely not. Had to be here.
We're going to get into your meteoric rise over the last 5 months in a little bit. Just in case there are people new to my channel, new to you, new to us, reintroduce yourself. Why are you the X's and O's guy that I refer to? What brings you to the analytic side of the game?
So, my name's Collin Hatfield, and I go by, Collin Hatfield Show on various different platforms. And what brought me to X's and O's, I think there's a couple of different answers. Maybe first and foremost, playing growing up, I wanted to find if there was an edge that I could get over people I played against. And I remember as I was getting into high school, Kobe was starting to come out with Detail. And I just remembered watching some of the clips, like some of the free clips they posted on YouTube, and being like, oh my goodness, there's so much more to the game of basketball than what's talked about or than what I've been able to see. And it was like this whole new world as I started diving into it. And I'm realizing, okay, there's so much more to learn here. And that was one of the first aspects. I wanted to be able to do something for myself as a player that would help me out because I was never that tall, never the most athletic, and I wanted to have something to kind of curve those limitations. So that was first and foremost. And then as I started creating content, I looked around and I was like, oh, there's so many people that they'll cover highlights. They do, I guess, comedy or common general commentary in a sense. I was like, that competition is just vast. There's so many people that do that. So I want to have something that sets me apart. And I don't see a ton of people being very entrenched in the X's and O's and being able to tell you what's happening, why it's happening, what you can date this back to, where this coach found this set from, all these different type of things. I wanted to be able to explain that to the viewer early on. Was like, okay, this could really help set me apart from everyone else that's making content right now.
Well, it's certainly not common. I believe I said the last time that you were on, you are probably one of maybe 3 that are constantly on my algorithm and that I follow that do almost exclusively, the other 2 almost exclusively X's and O's content, being able to break down why the defense adjusted to this after we saw this offensive run and things like that. So it's such a, I don't want to call it niche because I feel like niche has this weird like negative connotation to it. It's very important in the game of basketball. But to what you said earlier, the commentary portion, the opinion-based portion, the see and react portion of it is way more common in our space. And I honestly couldn't be more happy that we are starting to see people who do the X's and O's content see the fruits of their labor, like we're getting ready to talk about with your growth over the last couple of months. Like I said, you have exploded. You've gained 10,000 subscribers or 10,000 followers on TikTok in 5 months, which is absolutely huge. At what point did you know that it was taking off? Like, did you post something and you went to bed, you woke up with 1,000 likes? Like, what was the process like?
I would say there was a couple of moments like that. There was a few posts that I may have uploaded and then I just go off and do whatever and I come back and it's like 99, 99, 99 for like 99 comments, 99 likes, 99 new followers. And those moments are like, oh my goodness, over the summer, it was almost just poetic how all this happened. I was having a terrible day and we're going out to dinner. We're celebrating my mom's birthday. And I get this post out before we go out to dinner. And on our way back, I'm checking and it's during the NBA finals. So I upload it, it goes up, and you see the 99, 99, 99. I'm like, oh wow, okay. So I click on it, I see what's going on, and Quinn Cook is in the comment section. I'm like, whoa, like, yeah, I'm a Duke basketball fan. That's Quinn Cook, and that was a jaw dropping moment for me. So seeing that, and then seeing a couple other things, I early first semester of college this year, I'm going to class. I'm going to my 9 a.m. class, and it's like 8:45, and I sit down and get my stuff unpacked, and I see that SGA saved my video and followed me. And I'm like, what? Like Shea Gilgis Alexander. That's one of those moments. And I'm sitting here in this class with all these other journalism majors, and I feel like a 5-year-old kid. I could jump out of my seat and just run laps around the room because the NBA MVP just followed me and saved something I did about him. But, I'm just like sitting here just kind of cheesing ear to ear off by myself. So you'll have those little moments, and seeing a couple of NBA players interact with my stuff. Jalen Williams saved one of the videos. Jalen Johnson, like the video that I made about him during the summer. Those moments mean a lot just because I think you see a lot of X's and O's and that type of content from former players. And I think there's kind of this stigma around fans doing it sometimes, or people that didn't play at a super high level. So to get that validation from people at the top of their profession, it means, okay, I'm at least doing something right.
In these last couple of months, has there been something that you've really taken away from this growth? Is there something that sticks out?
I would say it's good to be a bit crazy. It's good to be a bit crazy, and it's good to be a bit delusional. I've been doing this since my sophomore year of high school, and there's moments where I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, I know this will hit if it finds the right audience. I know this is going to be valuable to someone, and I know someone's going to care about it. As you keep doing it, it feels like sometimes maybe it's not. Maybe this isn't what I need to be doing. Maybe this is, in the grander scheme, a waste of time. It's just continuing to fall in love with the process and not being overly concerned about what the numbers look like. And that's very difficult to do because you're going to have a piece of content that comes to your mind. It's like, I know this could have the potential to do a lot of numbers. But staying true to the root of what you do and why you started it, and because I just wanted to be able to talk basketball with people that I enjoy, spread positivity, and continue to grow this community of people that I enjoy talking to, and hopefully, we can create relationships with viewer to viewer, and it's not such a parasocial thing where I'm just sitting here and people are interacting with me, but I'm not messaging them back. I'm not showing any love back. I would just say, yeah, like I knew all along getting to this point and beyond is what I wanted to do, but just kind of believing through those dog days where you're posting and you're working hours on end on this video, you got an idea, you're trying to put together how to frame it, you're trying to find the clips for it, you're trying to do all these different things. Maybe you're editing it depending on what your style is, and you look up and it's like 400 views. It's like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I just spent my whole day working for 400 views. But all of that accumulates, and over time, it's really kind of impossible to outrun the work if you continue to put it in.
There's really nothing like pouring your heart and soul into a piece of content and then it just flopping, especially for your expectations. Shameless plug here. I posted a YouTube video 7 or 8 months ago. I created this formula to determine, like, mathematically, the offensive player of the year, like a separate award from the MVP, because I think those are two different things. I went
Hmm.
all the way back to the 1973-74 season because I think it's the first year they introduced the defensive player of the year. So
Hmm.
I went through 50 years worth of stats and figures and all these other things. With the editing, the script writing, the researching, the whole thing, I probably put 60 at a minimum 65 hours into this video, and it is currently sitting at 72 views. Devastating. You have to keep going though. I took that on the chin. I'm like, boy, that's the best thing that I'm ever going to do. Probably on to the next one. Yeah, lick my wounds, keep going.
It hurts. It hurts. And I remember watching that video and thinking like, "Oh my goodness, how much time did you spend on this?" And I remember watching the video and just, first of all, enjoying it because I feel like it's a newer and original video idea within a talking point in basketball that we don't discuss often enough. You know, like MVP has kind of changed form in its meaning over the years. And so I thought the video was awesome. And I remember watching it all the way through and just thinking, yo, like this is a fantastic idea and it should do numbers. And like you said, you can sometimes put all the work in, and the most discouraging part is people will tell you, yeah, you could have done this better, you could have done that better, but you can say that for everything that's ever been uploaded to the internet. Sometimes you will have a fantastic idea and it just won't reach people. Due to whatever reason, maybe it doesn't get pushed in the algorithm, maybe it's the time you put it out, whatever. And that, like you said, it hurts so much. So I feel you on that 100%.
I knew that I was fighting an uphill battle because the majority of that video is knowing the formula that I put out at the beginning of the video and then looking at a spreadsheet. I understand how boring that could possibly be. I get it. I figured the premise was good enough to go, yeah, this is like going to do at least 1,000 views, like
Right.
minimum. And then to get a
Yeah.
tenth of that, ooh boy. You had brought up to get past my little pity party here. You had talked about you going to school, being in class. Is there something from your schooling while you're in school that's been able to help you as a content creator? Do you think?
You know what? This is Roundball Renaissance. This is one of my favorite content creators. So I'm going to be super, super, super honest. I would say there hasn't been a ton of college education or journalism education that I've said, "Ooh, this is amazing. I have to make sure that this gets into my content." There's been a few things. I think one issue I had early on that I've been working to adjust over the last year is timeliness and relevancy. I would say, those are pillars of journalism that I wasn't really putting into my content. I would still be posting a fair amount, but it would be most of the things that I wanted to talk about. So if there was a certain play or a certain scheme that I found really interesting, I'm going to talk about that while other people are talking about how Steph Curry scored 60 last night. And their stuff is going to perform better than mine because it's more relevant and it's more timely within the scope of content creation and the algorithm. So I would say those are two of the biggest things I took away. It's not that college isn't necessary. Like I'm here and I'm going through it and I'm still working on getting this degree, but a lot of these things I picked up in conversation with other TikTok creators. I picked up observing other people. I picked up just talking to people that watch my content and maybe had a suggestion about doing this or shifting this. And those were the big learning moments. I just wouldn't say there was a ton of things I can look back and say like that was transformative to my content journey. And if anyone is listening to this, I hope you always make a decision solely based on what works for you. And I'm not saying college isn't the thing that could help propel you, but I knew going in, like I was really focused on trying to connect with as many people as possible. And so that's been one of the coolest parts, being able to meet so many people that I feel like have a lot of promise within media, and just creating real authentic relationships with them, not centered around anything else other than actually enjoying who this person is, and hopefully seeing that grow in the future. And if there's business involved with that, yeah, it'd be awesome. It's always better to work with someone you like. So I think probably connections over information has been a big theme for me in college as well.
You heard it here first. Colin Hatfield says college is not important. Just go out and make friends. I do think that the connections are important. Iron sharpens iron, right? You want to be around people who not only like the game, but are so passionate about the game that it brings out your passion as well. I do I do not waste any time on people who degrade the game in such a way that you can very much tell that they don't like it. They're just doing it for the clicks or whatever.
Right.
Absolutely a waste of my time to be associated with you. It's so hard, and I will never name this creator by name because I blocked him, and I don't want to say hate because I don't know this person, but
Mhm.
whatever is the closest thing to that is what I have for this person, disdain, I guess. Their entire page, their entire brand is the filters, the starting five filters, the rank these five point guard filters, and then just
Okay.
being like the most egregious thing, like Isaiah Thomas, the Pistons one will come up. It's like, yeah, that's the best point guard of all time. Like very clearly, just rage baiting. And this guy has 300,000 followers. He came up so often on my page that it pissed me off every time I looked at him that I had to block him. I just couldn't do it. And
Mhm.
he's my villain origin story. To escape that, I have to beat this guy.
Ooh, you're bringing up a fantastic topic. You know, along with this growth, that's another thing you realize is that if you really wanted to, you know the formula right now to take off, and it's easy. And that's the part that sucks. If you said today, I'm going to get online and I'm going to make fun of every player that I cover, find the cheesiest joke, find one player to single out, I'll join the hate train. There's a specific creator that's, I guess you could say, kind of in the niche of what I do, but oh, I hate watching their videos so much because they're so wrong, but they know a few words that the casual fan doesn't. And people aren't going to go look up what those words mean. They're not going to go look up how they're applied within basketball in the modern context. And so this person is wrong 75% of the time. But they yell, they scream, they present this character, and people just eat it up. And to me, it's just such a shame that there's real content creators that are pouring time into this, pouring research, and not pumping out this almost manufactured focus group wannabe Stephen A type of stuff. And it almost makes me sick. Almost makes me sick for how poor this content is and how easy at times it is to go viral. You know, I've talked to some people about it. Like the formula is just that simple. If I get up, I start screaming, I start making fun of people, and I start, you know, hardcore rage baiting and comment baiting. It doesn't matter how correct or incorrect I am or how much polish or craft I have in what I do, that's going to shoot me to the top ASAP. And I think that's one of the more discouraging parts about what we do.
You don't have to be one way or the other. Like
Hmm.
I've posted things on my channel where I am negative. I feel like I am like 99% positive, but
Hmm.
I'm not infallible. There are people that I just don't like. I will
Yeah.
say it's never because of their basketball ability. If we could
Mhm.
separate art from artist, they're good basketball players. They're in the NBA. They're gonna be a good basketball player. It's just
Right.
that they're a shitty person, and
Hmm.
that's why I don't like them. And that's literally where the cutoff is. And
Hmm.
if something comes to light that makes me have to change my opinion on something. Like for instance, whoever's listening, please don't let this happen. Jalen Brown, obviously one of my favorite players ever.
Hmm.
If it came out tomorrow that he was just like this super scumbag, I go, wow, gotta cut ties there. Can't do that anymore. And it's really just that simple. But I will never be Jalen Brown's a bad basketball player. He's averaging 35 and 5. He's pretty
Right.
good. Like it's so simple. You don't have to shit on every player, and you don't have to coddle every player either. There's a fine balance.
100%.
I want to know what it's like for you now watching the game. You've mentioned it before. I think it was on a story, maybe, or maybe you talked about it in one of your posts. You're part of the TikTok Creator Fund now. Congratulations, huge.
Thank you.
Does that change the way that you view the game at all? Not, I'm not asking that from like a how do I get the retention up to get the AdSense or whatever. Are you just watching a game with a pen and pad and just trying to break stuff down as it's happening, or do you view something in the moment and go, oh, I have to talk about this like right now, and then head to the film room to break it down?
You know what? Once again, we're on Roundball, so we're sparing nothing. I'll give you the exact thing here. So what I do for the last, I think, 4 seasons is I make a folder for every team, and every game I get my iPad out and I make notes on it. And so I start with the actions that I see, and then I'll do the coverages that I see on the defensive end, and then these are the notes that might just apply to a single player or tie a play call from the first quarter to one from the third quarter. So that's been the process of me now watching basketball. Downside of it is I there are times where I'm not just ever watching just to enjoy or just to be a fan. You know, like it's a lot of time watching with content in mind or watching with kind of this running log of what this team has been, how they're changing, what's moving forward, what's regressed. Those type of things are all kind of percolating while I'm sitting there and watching the game. So I try to find times to where I can just enjoy, and I think slowly college basketball is becoming that for me because I can just turn on a game and it's like, oh, I haven't seen this team play all season long, but I'm familiar with one or two of their recruiting class, so I know a bit about them, know a bit about their coach, know a bit about the legacy of the program. So I have a little bit of an idea going in, but I can still just watch this and enjoy it. And I'll never forget like Christmas Day. Being a fan was such a fun thing for me. We would go to my grandma's house, and all the guys would go downstairs and just watch NBA basketball all day. Me, all my uncles, my dad, my brother, cousins. It was just such a fun thing. And so I tried to find a few moments like that if I can hang out with friends, watch a game. Christmas Day was able to watch some games with my brother and my dad, and just try not to be in the mode of like, oh, okay, I see this or I see that. So yeah, it definitely changes it a little bit, and I think you do feel a bit of pressure once, yeah, like you get the creator rewards thing, and pressure's not the right word. I think it's incentive to just be just as sharp as you possibly can, because everything you put out now has the chance of earning money for you. So it's definitely shifted to a degree how I watch the game, but I'm still trying to find ways to still just enjoy it, be a fan, and really just love the game for what it is at times.
I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent because I feel like we could be for another 2 hours. Little behind the scenes curtain here. In a couple hours, I'm interviewing a guy named Jackson on TikTok. He does like youth development for like high school basketball, and he puts out like free tips. He gets all these workouts you can do in the off season, during the season, whatever. He focuses a lot on the college basketball, and I will not do it justice. There is a more nuanced, probably 2 hour long conversation that needs to happen for this, but this is the best that I can do in a snippet. I think that the college game, by necessity, has to be more polished from an X's and O's standpoint than the NBA for a lot of
Mhm,
reasons. The shot clock in the college game is longer, so you have more time to actually run an action. The
mhm.
athlete, while there are obviously NBA players at the college level, is
Yeah.
99% of the college athletes are going to go pro in something else. It's like the whole tagline.
Mhm.
So you have to be able to scheme and X and O your way to a victory. While in the NBA, hey, Anthony Edwards, go yam on somebody. Use
Yeah.
that 38-inch vert that you got and go yam on somebody. And that's the biggest, honest to God. And I shout out to Riley, my buddy Riley. Uh, you can talk to him on Discord if you want. Join the Discord in the link in the description below. I'm trying so hard to make him a college basketball fan. I've already hooked him on NBA basketball.
Mhm.
He's a huge reason why I even started doing this content. I'm trying so hard to hook him on college basketball. And we had this conversation 2 days ago. He's like, why would I watch essentially amateur basketball? And I, you know what? I'm actually just going to pull it up. I sent him 2 screen grabs and I said, he said, why watch college when NBA on? And I sent a screenshot of the Gonzaga Santa Clara game on the other
Uh-huh.
day. Pretty good. The West Coast Conference is obviously an elite conference. Gonzaga has always been very good. And then I sent him a screenshot of the Pacers Hornets game. And what I didn't know at the time was that LaMelo was coming off the bench for that game. It was like,
Uh-huh.
there's a winner here. Like the NBA obviously has better talent, but 2 or 3 times a week, there are objectively better games on at the college level. And there's nothing you
Yes.
can do about that. That's just the nature of the game.
Literally, 100%. And I think you made a great point about scheming and being thoughtful, because you're also dealing with a group of guys who are just at a lower skill level. Like you said, if I'm playing, you might know exactly what I'm running in the NBA. But let's go back to prime Golden State. Because Clay is 6'7", you can't stop him. If he's coming off the pin down and you're 6'3", it's a catch and shoot every time. Even if you play perfect defense, you're in the perfect position, he's gonna find his way over. And unless you literally prevent him from getting the shot off, he can make it. He scored, how was it, 60? It was 60 with 11 dribbles. Like, that's so ridiculous and high skill level. That's not an easy thing to do. So you don't have that same luxury at the college level. So you got to find new ways to be able to get your guys open. Shout out the film room. I think his name is Coach Macbeth. He's a college coach, but he breaks down film on TikTok, and he was showing this game between Providence and UConn and how they ran a set for their shooter 5 straight times, and every time it got them a score. You know, whether it was him knocking down the three or his movement opening up a shot for someone else. And I just think that's amazing. That's amazing because there will be times in the NBA, like you said, we're coming down and it's 5 straight pick and rolls. It's like, it's really fun to watch that at times, but it's like, hey, it would be nice to see the ball get moved a little bit.
The college game, where it's just the foundation of the coaching that you're talking about. Some of the best coaches come from the college level. It's
Hmm.
because you have to lay such a foundation of, because from the high school level to the college level is a huge mental gap. And from the
Yes.
college level to the NBA gap, it's a huge physical gap. Those are the only two things that separate those three levels. That's it. So you have
Yes.
to have a great mind to be a college athlete, and you have to take that great mind and be a great athlete. There are some exceptions, obviously, like TJ McConnell is not a great, he's not like a super athlete. Great basketball mind, though. He's just, an outlier in this situation. But I truly love the college game. Another shameless plug, sorry. I'm watching one game from each conference of college basketball this year, and I've always loved basketball. I didn't get a chance to watch a ton of mid-major hoops. I'm seeing it now at a grassroots level. I'm watching the Citadel take on some team that doesn't even have an icon on ESPN. That's how much I love this game. So I'm seeing it at this base level. And again, honestly, the two games aren't that different. It's just two gaps that separate it.
That's become one of my favorite watches in on your page and on your content because like you said, I could just look up and the other day you were covering IU Indy and I'm like, what? IU Indy is getting coverage on my TikTok page? Like this is amazing. And so just seeing you talk about guys who are averaging 8.5 points in 3 assists and they're in, some conference you've never heard of, like that's really amazing. And like you said, once again, it shows that you truly do love the game and that you care. But also, seeing basketball through different lenses is so important. I'm gonna, I guess, kind of shout out someone here. I've been kind of following and going back and forth with this coach on TikTok. He's around my age. I think maybe just a little bit older. His name is Miguel Rivera, and he just started coaching this team out in Colorado, and being able to watch him deal with the kids and implement different X's and O's and strategies and seeing the game from that lens, it's like, oh wow, a lot of these things you see why they work on this level, but why they may not work on this level. But then if you're creative enough and it's implemented right, some junky defense that you're doing in high school, that boxing one can get thrown out in the NBA finals and be effective. It can, the basketball, the possibilities are endless, and that's what makes the game so beautiful. There's really no wrong answer. It's all about how it's implemented and how well you execute. And so then you get to see some of the most creative minds in the sport put beautiful things together, and that to me makes it so special.
The last thing I'll say about it before we move on is I think that the game of basketball is so vast in what you can do. You and I both watched high school games. We've played high school basketball. We've seen it in other capacities. There are only so many plays that you can run because high
Right.
schoolers fundamentally can't keep that much in their brain. So
Exactly.
every high school runs a continuity play. It's a 3-man weave up top and then a screen down, screen away. Everybody runs this exact same play. If you see that in a college game, it will get cast out. It will get eaten alive. Even at the lowest possible level, you can play D2 hoops, and someone will see that and go, "Oh, that's how you beat this." Like, I know this. This is rudimentary.
Mhm.
So the game's just so good, and I hate that college, with the exception of the March Madness, because everybody loves March Madness. College basketball is looked down at, like, like this, like, oh, it's so wild because if you just watch the games, and I've said this for a long time, and it's a larger conversation where idiots online will say the women's game isn't as good as the men's game. If you're watching the game, you can't tell. It's just good basketball when you're watching it. Yeah,
Mhm.
the women's game doesn't consistently score 120 points. There's a lot of factors that go into that. The pace of play, the fact that they play 8 less minutes a game. Like, there's
Mhm.
so many nuanced things you have to talk about in this game. So whether it's the men's game in the NBA or the W or Unrivaled or the Big Three or college or whatever. Good hoops is good hoops, and that's really what I try to build my whole brand on. I'm going to talk about good basketball, no matter the source.
And once again, I think that's why we kind of connected in the way that we did, and that's something I really really appreciated about you. And to your point about the women's game, I was never the type of person that was of the mindset of, oh, they play, what they play is boring, I don't want to watch it. It was more of just a thing of, I'm watching so much basketball, I'm not getting to it. But I remember, ironically, it was the weekend my brother got married, and we're about to go do something the night before, but we're all sitting in this hotel room and we're watching UConn at the time. I think it's play Iowa, I think, with Clark, obviously, but got to see Paige, Nika, and that team just play as hard as they did defensively. See Gino throw everything he could to stopping Caitlin Clark. Like that was just so, it was fascinating to me. And at the same time, USC is playing. It's the first time I ever watched Juju, and my mouth is on the floor. Like,
A dog.
my
A dog.
goodness, like she's crazy. I've never seen anything quite like her. Convinced she's, hopefully she can get past this ACL thing, get fully healthy, and I believe if I was a betting man, I would bet on her finishing her career as the greatest women's player of all time. But you've got this depth of talent that's coming out of women's hoops right now, and like you said, it's a really beautiful game because I would say it's kind of like the extension of what you just talked about. From the pros to college, I've got to scheme more, but now from even men to women, I've got to scheme even more. I've got to be even sharper with some of the things I'm rolling out. And this game is so much more mental than it is physical. And man, it just makes for fantastic hoops. So I love what they have going on, and plan to watch Unrivaled this year. Plan to keep up with women's college hoops. Kid to see, wait to see what the W rolls out in the upcoming season. So yeah, lots of good basketball all over the place.
One thing that I love about your content, especially as of late, is how you've been able to intertwine, weave in and out of other concepts in basketball. You have talked about the fluidity of a player's motion and liking that to a mixed martial artist. You had a video the other day talking about hip hop and rap lyrics. Is that something that comes to you in the moment? Is it something that's always kind of been in the back of your mind, or are you just watching the game and go, "Wow, this guy kind of hoops the way that J. Cole raps"? Like, what is that process like for you?
Honestly, it's what you mentioned of, I'll just be going through my day, and I might be thinking about a specific game or thinking about something I want to do, and I'll just kind of see this parallel, and it'll be like, oh, okay, I like that. Let's do it. Let's go for it. In the video I did the other day, this made me so mad. So I knew the exact clip I wanted, and it's this play where the Clippers will have Zubac screen for someone to come towards the ball, but they overload the strong side. He can seal, and they throw it over the top. And I remember watching this live when they did it versus the Clippers in the 24 postseason. And I remember I was like, I know for a fact that they ran it, but now I just gotta comb through all these clips and find it. And so whatever. I'm sitting in the dining hall and I'm just scrolling clip through clip through clip. Can't find it. And I did something I'm not the most proud of because I understand, AI usage is not the greatest, right? I was like, hey, ChatGPT, I need your help right now. Can you please help me find this clip? And so they verified that I was right. I remember the series that it comes up in, but it's the clip is when Zoo gets fouled. And NBA.com doesn't post clips of players getting fouled. Another website I use doesn't post clips of players getting fouled. And then some of the replays that I have access to, they don't go back to the 23-24 postseason. So it felt like I was in jail for half a day because I know exactly what it is I want and what I'm trying to find, but I can't get to it. So then I remember, okay, they ran it versus the Clippers when Kevin Durant was, well, they ran it versus Suns when Kevin Durant was there in March of last year. So I go there and I realize, okay, it happens again, but this time KD blocks a shot, but all of the clippings from the game don't show the full action. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm so upset. But I figure out, okay, I can't frame this in just the way that I want to. But I did remember in that day, like I was listening to J. Cole and I was listening to Fire Squad specifically. And I remember the song and I'm like, I remember that line, and you can see how sometimes it'll take 5, 6 years for another rapper to come back and address another rapper about a line that they said back then. Well, that's what coaches do all the time. JJ Redick flips this play out, and he only does this when he's playing the Clippers. That shows you, okay, he's watching Clippers film, and he knows that they use this play occasionally. And so I just thought that was cool, and I'm just gonna let it rip. I'm gonna let it fly and see what happens. So I do think it's fun, and it breaks up the monotony in the content that I do. Not that it's boring, but you know, just X's and O's may not be the most riveting thing all the time. So finding some tie-in that other people may be able to enjoy, whether it's through MMA or whether it's through music, I think it's really cool. It keeps me sharp, it keeps me creative. And through anything, I try to find the themes. And so if I'm able to connect a theme from another art or another subject to basketball, I think it typically just makes for a solid video and gives my viewers something else or another side of me that I'm not maybe not always able to talk about. And so that's kind of how I look at it.
Did the video do well as far as like the numbers go for you? No.
No, no. It was I think it's still under 1,000 views, and it was one of those moments that we were just talking about. I started working on this video idea at about 2:30, and the video gets posted at about 9:30. And so I spent a solid 2 hours just looking for the clips that I wanted. Oh, I if I ever get the influence that I need, I'm gonna talk to Adam Silver because we need to do something about this. We need to have a concrete library of full games that people can have full access to and purchase. But that's another day and another conversation. But like you said, I poured my heart into that video, just time, effort, trying to frame it, construct it. And after 7 hours of looking through something, you're kind of tired. And so I'm not really physically up to recording this anymore, but I'm like, I've done all this. I gotta get this out. And I get it out. And I knew the people that really enjoyed my content would like it, would enjoy it. But I was like, this is kind of one of those boom or bust posts. There's a real possibility this sits at 900 views for forever, and that's okay. That's all right. But it didn't take off like how it would. But that's what the game is, man. That's okay.
Branching out from what you're known for it's like kind of intimidating. I think is rest word, because I don't know if fear is the right word, because honestly, like at the end of the day, we're just like guys posting on the internet. But there's this
Mhm.
weird intimidation factor of like, oh, I'm not known for this. This isn't
Right.
gonna like click with the audience that's in tune with me. They're gonna go, oh, this is somebody else. Swipe. And
Mhm.
in the off chance that somebody else looks at it and likes it, they're gonna come back to my next post where it's the X's and O's breakdowns or whatever and go, I didn't sign up for this. And like,
Right.
this is I've had more plugging from me. Honestly, I don't care. This is my channel. I'm going to do what I want. My guests can plug anything they want as well. I have had 2 instances over the last like month or so where I have branched out from what I normally do. I made this video and I ended up like chopping it up into clips where I gave my all-star votes in a very satirical way. And I didn't say it in the video because obviously if I have to explain satire to you, it kind of like defeats the whole point. It's like explaining a joke.
Mhm.
But the satire is that I don't think that all stars are important. I think that they used to be, but in the last like 15, 20 years, the only people that care about their all stars are the first time that you're an all star or the last time that you're an all star. And more often than not, the guys that are the last all stars know that at the end. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sure that when Kyle Korver got his all star nod, he didn't think that was going to be his last one. And then it was. Like,
Mhm.
so I very much shit posted a 10-minute video about who I thought needed to be in the All-Star game. And the 3 clips I put out were Javon Carter, where I said that he averaged 36 points and 12 assists, which he did against the Thunder in November of 2022. That's when he averaged those stats. And
Okay.
then My second one was Colin Cowherd, which the counting stats I used were correct. Those were all right, but I said that his shooting splits were 100, 100, 100. And all I did was take the screen grab from StatMuse and just
Mhm.
I went in on the code, changed it, grabbed the screenshot, and then threw it up there. And then for the last one, oh boy, the last one was like super vitriolic. I said that Donovan Clingan, who's having a good season, was averaging a triple double with blocks. And the double satirical part, like the nature of it, is not only do I think that all-star voting and balloting and vote and like the whole thing is a sham, but
Mhm.
the NBA media is so bad that in theory someone could be averaging a triple double with blocks and nobody knows about it, because
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, because I posted it everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I can't tell you how many times somebody posted that's not what he's averaging. Really? You think I don't know that he's not averaging 10 blocks a game? You think there's a guy that's putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers and I don't know about? Come on, man. Read through the lines.
Right.
And then the
Please.
and then the other one was actually an X's and O's breakdown I did on Braden Smith, who just passed or just broke the Big Ten record for assist. And I had a lot
Mhm.
of fun doing that. I like watching point guards maneuver in such a way that it's a lot less complicated than seeing it in action, like being able to break it down like that. But that
Mhm.
one didn't do as well as I would have liked, right? It's so hard it's hard to like get yourself up to just branch out. Because I could have just
Yeah.
said, hey, Braden Smith, pretty cool that you broke the record. Maybe I'll see you in the NBA one day. Have a TJ Connell career for you and end the video. But when you
Yeah.
take it a step further, that's when pins and needles here. Oh boy, I don't like this.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think it's really amazing. That's the cool part of having a hardcore follower, because I remember you did a film breakdown over Euroball over the summer, and I was like, "Oh, we're getting film breakdowns now? Like, I love this." And obviously, like you're playing to a certain audience while you're making that specific piece of content, even within basketball, because there are basketball fans that don't really want to watch, film breakdowns. They're more into highlights. They're more into that type of thing. And no judgment on my part, but it was just really cool to be able to like be on this journey and see when you do step outside of what your comfort zone is and put something out. And for you to be able to see that with me, it's like, yeah, I typically don't talk about this, but I'm feeling it, and it's a little, I feel a little weird putting it out. I'm not sure it's gonna do very well, but let's just do it. We'll see what the return is. And at the end of the day, I think just allowing yourself to be creative is so important. If you stick in this lane all the time, I think you can start to limit yourself to what you can talk about and what you can and can't do within content creation. And the more you do that, the more other people are going to do that. So it's good every once in a while just to pop out with something out of left field. And yeah, I was I remember I was watching the Javon Carter video in my bed, and I'm laughing out loud. I saw the 36 point, and I was gone. That made my day.
I think the reason, at least for me, why I do that, it's a little self-aggrandizing. I think I have made no bones about it. I want this to eventually be my income. I want to do
Hmm.
this for a living, and I have never shied away from that. But I want people to know, if you want a think piece, I got it. If you want
Hmm.
like real journalism, I got it. If you want X's and O's breakdown, I got that in my bag too. Like, don't
Hmm.
I am
Yeah.
equipped. I am a 5 tool player over here, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm not. Oh, especially too with that Eurobasket breakdown. What kind of sicko breaks down X's and O's film from the Euro League? Like, you think you like basketball? You need to get over here on my side of the lane. Like,
Right. And that's the thing. Like, watching your content, it's also inspiring in the sense of the scope in which you watch basketball, because I never really watched any Euro ball prior to this year. Like, I was cognizant that it happens, and I'm cognizant these guys go back home and play every year. But I remember you telling me like, "Yo, you need to watch this," and I watched I watched a few games that Turkey played in because I was really excited to see Sengun. But I watched a couple of other games. I watched Germany's, I think it was their finale. I watched them play the French team pretty early on. I was like, oh, like this is amazing. You like, I appreciate you putting me onto this. So yeah, that's the other thing. Like, you really can't escape basketball in its entirety on your page. Whatever you care about is going to be discussed. And I think as you continue to work closer to that point where this is your income, that's going to serve you like so well, because whatever I want, it's I can go to your page and I'm going to hear it talked about. And that sets you apart from a good chunk of people in this space.
One last thing, I have to talk about this guy before we get to transition out of here. We're gonna have a little game, and then we're gonna plug all your stuff. There was this guy in my YouTube comment section who I don't remember ever getting the notification that he followed me. And sometimes on YouTube you can hide who you're subscribed to, so it won't send a notification to the person you subscribe to. Never seen this guy before. YouTube doesn't tell you who likes it. It'll tell you when somebody comments, but that's really like the extent of it.
Yeah.
I post something. Probably it was about the WNBA. I don't remember what, but based on how he reacted, I'm assuming it was about Angel Reese and the fact that he doesn't like a certain kind of people like that. It was something to do with that, and the combination of her being a woman of color and a woman, like it was just going to be like something he wasn't very into based on how he reacted. I posted something about her, and his reaction was, I can't believe that we're wasting time talking about the WNBA. And I responded, I was like, hey man, like, I don't know if you've ever seen my banner before. It says talking good hoops no matter the source. I don't view it in such a way of like men, women, amateur, professional. Like, I don't view it that way. I just think orange ball, go and hoop. And I like that. I like it a lot, actually. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And I explained it like just like that. And I probably shouldn't given him this much like credit based on like the energy that he was giving off. I probably should have called him out on more of his stuff, and that's on me. But then he doubled down and he was like, well, there are just, even if you were going to talk about it, there's better players out there. And then named like 4 white players in a row. I'm like, I see where this conversation is going now. This is where we're ending it, actually. So, and one of them was like objectively not even true. And again, respect to all these players are way better than I ever be, like the whole thing that he named. And again, remember in this framework, we're talking about Angel Reese. They said Caitlin Clark. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cameron Brink. Yeah, great defender. She was hurt. She's got some injury issues. Perfectly fine. Then they said Sophie Cunningham, which again, Sophie Cunningham, good basketball player. Better than Angel Reese? Better than averaging 15 rebounds a game, Angel Reese? I don't think so. It was so rough. It's so silly. Like, I can't stand the people who have some sort of idea in their mind. And it's like the parasocial relationship that you were talking about earlier. They, for whatever, think that they are entitled to your content in such a way that they get to dictate what you talk about. And like, hey gang, that's never going to be this channel. Like, I'm not going to cater to it. And there have been times that something will do well and I go, maybe I should talk more about that. And I have to reel myself back and go, nope. If I'm not inspired, I'm not doing it. So if you don't like that, if every 4th video I talk about is either about the college game or the women's game, and you don't like that, maybe you're just not in the right place. And that's where I kind of left. I ended up blocking him on YouTube because you don't get to be racist in my comment section and be around after that. But I mean, honestly, you just have to find your tribe with people. If you like stuff, like it. And if you don't, keep scrolling.
That to me is the most interesting part of all of this. If you let's just say, if you don't like black people and you have something against women, maybe a video discussing Angel Reese isn't the place for you. Like you just said, no one is forcing you to watch this content, right? And you're getting into the weeds when someone says Sophie Cunningham is better than Angel Reese, because that's not, it's just objectively not true. Caitlin Clark, I hear you. Cameron Brink, I hear you. But come on now. Like, let's just attempt to be serious. And I did an Angel Reese video over the summer, and
I bet that was fun for
I
you.
oh man, I, it turned partially made me like want to talk about the W more, but also not want to because it was so divisive. Because I align with the school of thought, or I try to. I don't get to it at the extent in which you cover it, but I try to just talk about good basketball. And Angel Reese had clearly made strides to start that season. And I've got people in the comments. Let's just go through the tiers of people. We've got the people that hate women and hate women's basketball. And so we're fighting them. Then we have racists, and we're fighting them as well. Then we have women that don't want to hear men talk about women's sports, which of any of the opinions, I'm more inclined to hear you because I understand. I feel like I at least understand the foundation of what you're getting at. I disagree with why you think about it the way that you do, but I guess I'm more able to hear you out. And then we have the specific Angel Reese haters. So there was just a melting pot of hatred in that comments, and the it was sharp. I mean, people were getting talked down. I saw someone go to someone else's profile, screenshot like 3 or 4 of their posts and pictures, and be like, "Oh, this is what you look like." I'm like, "Dang!" Like we're really getting torn. This is a battleground. So yeah, it's I realized that day like nothing quite sells like negativity, and it is really perplexing to me. People will sit there and suffer through content that they hate just to get their own hate off. And we are very interesting human beings in a very interesting time.
I've never so much as left a dislike on a YouTube video. That's just the kind
Really.
of person I am. Like you'll never catch me like shit talking somebody just because I don't like them. And like, okay, well,
Yeah.
block, scroll, whatever the case is. If you're gonna take anything away from this almost hour-long conversation, don't be racist and don't be dumb. If you don't do those
Yeah.
things, you're probably pretty good off. I want to do something similar to what we did last time we had you on. I gave you 5 questions last time that I did not prepare you for. I like to keep all the guests on the toes at least a little bit. I'm doing something similar here. It's only 3 questions this time, but you have to pick
Okay.
this or that. It's only one
Mhm.
thing that you can choose, and the other one has to go away forever. If you're ready, I have the first question for you.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You are an X's and O's guy, so imagine yourself
Hmm.
as a coach. You can only run one kind of action for a game for the entirety of the game, nothing else. Do you pick
Hmm.
a floppy action or do you pick something with an elevator screen in it? And I know that in the last episode you talked about how aesthetically pleasing the elevator look is, but if you don't have the right
Hmm.
personnel, maybe it doesn't work out. So maybe that's something you have to consider.
I want to be cool and different and say elevator, but if I can only run one action, floppy's so much more versatile. And one of my philosophies, if I ever got into coaching, is I always want to run plays that can branch into the other. Talk about like crossing over subjects. One of my favorite archetypes of fighters in MMA, boxing, are combination punchers. So I want to be able to throw something out that I can build off of. And to me, elevator, the concept of it is typically a play ender. Like that's where I want the shot to come from. And it's not the easiest to build out of. So I'll probably go floppy.
Floppy was also my answer, and the way I thought about it was you could probably run a floppy for Joel Embiid. You can't run an elevator screen for him. He's just too big. He doesn't move laterally quick enough. It's just not going to work. Speaking of
I
crossing
feel
over, and the crossover question for you, for whatever reason, you can't do X's and O's basketball breakdowns anymore. It's wiped off the table for you. You have to start fresh with a new account. Do you choose to break down mixed martial arts, or do you venture into hip hop, rap, and lyricists?
that's a great question. That's a great question. In this hypothetical, I'd probably take hip hop and lyrics. Like very, 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 very short story. I've kind of always based my journey as a content creator off of a specific rapper, which has been J. Cole. And as I was growing up, I didn't realize how the similarities stacked up. He, just through songs and interviews, I heard him say that he started rapping when he was 14, 15, I started making content at that time. He went to St. John. Well, first of all, he had the idea that he would never have to go to college. I remember telling my mom that before I was cognizant of this. I was really overly cocky at the time. Sitting at my dining room table in a suit saying, "Hey, mom, you're not going to need to pay for college. I'm going right to ESPN." That didn't happen. But I also heard him say, he went to college just for the connections and believed that, he would get signed before he ever finished up. I was much the same. And so there was just so many parallels that I felt based off of his career that inspired me to do what I'm doing. And I think hip hop as a whole is such a creative medium, and I think it's so undervalued at times, and it's reduced to what people want it to be rather than what it is in the artistic expression that it is. So I would have to pick hip hop.
I'm going to bring back your first love now. The basketball X's and O's are on the table again. But you can only choose offensive X's and O's breakdowns or defensive X's and O's breakdowns.
I'm going to go with defensive because that's where I feel like you really earn your stripes. Offense is a bit easier. Let me be clear about that. It's a bit easier to talk about and it's a bit more accessible. But when I see someone talk defense, it's like, oh, okay, you really know what you're talking about, and you put in the time, you've done the studying, because highlights are never going to really showcase a continuous theme of defensive concepts typically. So I'll have to go defense.
Yeah, honestly, when I set these questions up, I kind of figured that that's who we're going to lean on all three of those, and I'm pretty good clip from me. I think it was a great conversation. Really appreciate you coming on. Where can people find your stuff? Obviously, we've talked about your TikTok explosion. I know that you have a YouTube channel that I'm going to tag in the description below. You promised us 8 more videos last year, and you didn't deliver. So, maybe work on that this year. So where can people find you? Let us know.
So you can find me at Collin, COLLIN Hatfield Show on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and you can find me. I collaborate with At the Buzzer, and it's at the Buzz, 2 Z's on the end of that. You can also find that on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And before we get out of here, once again, thank you for having me on. Someone's getting real close to 1,000 followers. Can't wait to celebrate that. Can't wait to talk about that. Love seeing the real content creators win. Just wanted to shout you out for that, bro. Very, very excited for you and can't wait to see what you do in 2026.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. I feel like Rick Carlisle a little bit, where he was stuck on 9.99 for 13 straight games, because I've been on 9.97 for a while. Hopefully by the time that this comes out, I have surpassed that. But yeah, that's I don't like to think about the accomplishments so much. It's a weird dynamic in the grand scheme of content creation. 1,000 people, 1,000 followers isn't that much. But then when you think about it, 1,000 different times someone went, yeah, this is good enough for me to follow. Yeah, for sure. So I have to really keep myself in check. But I am super excited about it. I will wear it like a badge of honor, and hopefully I have a meteoric rise like you did. I'd love to see 10,000 by the end of 2026. That's what I'm shooting for.
I believe it. Bro.
If for whatever reason you aren't following either of us, all of our links are going to be in the description. Check him out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all the stuff at the Buzzer. You can check me out. I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, where Collin actually doesn't follow me. There's also a link in my description of a Discord that I've mentioned a couple times that I'd love for you to be a part of. That's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for Collin. Be kind. Tell somebody you love them. And we'll see you in the next one.
Barely scraping by. Trying to stop puffing. I'm trying to be one of the greats.